hopefully we're live again. I don't know why that happened. Let me just make sure we're up and running. That's not live. Okay, maybe we're live now. Okay. Looks like we are. Okay, is there sound? That I don't know. With the dogs on this road, they like to chase after the cars, don't they? I don't want to hurt the dogs. Oh, okay, horned lark's on the road and near the road. I hate to disturb them, but we have to go through here, unfortunately. They're beautiful birds. I hope you enjoyed watching them. Maybe, like I said, maybe it bored you all, but it was neat to see them. And there are more still in the snow to our right. I just hate to disturb the horned larks. Let's go through here, but while we have a chance. And we'll continue on to the airport. Still reading 22 degrees. So if you are just joining, it's cold, kind of sunny. Maybe not quite as sunny as it was early. Well, I'd say it's about as sunny. Plenty of snow still on the ground. There may have been snow during the week up here. I'm not sure. But I have a feeling some of the snow that's on the ground now is left over from the storm that fell a week ago yesterday. So that brings everybody up to date, at least in terms of my own opinions on the weather. See, I have to stop at this stop sign here. Okay, fine. And the there's a road that comes here and it turns. It's just a rounded turn that we intersect with. Okay, so we're on this other. I don't know if it's no, it's not considered a different road. And then we get to this other intersection here, and heading in this direction, there's no stop sign. There is in the other direction, but the route that comes here that would turn along this curve has no stop sign either. So I mean, we could easily crash into a car coming that way. It doesn't make any sense. And not today, but last week and the week before, as I drove through, there, another car was coming along that arc there in the road. And according to the traffic signs, neither of us had any reason to stop, so we could have easily hit each other. Utility line of one sort or another. What is that? Large. Oh, turkey vulture just took off. No, is that a turkey vulture? No, it's a crow. Okay, it seemed large. Hold on 1 second here. Could that be a raven? Maybe. Shoot, just took off again. It was on the ground. I wonder if that's a raven. It took off from a pole. It seemed large on the pole. And it's continuing to fly away from us. I'm going to let it go. I would have liked a look at that if that was, I'm not sure if it was raven. I think it might have been. It seemed large on the pole, and then a couple more horned larks, I think. And then it flew down to the ground. Would have liked to look at it. If that was a raven, I'm not sure. I have a hard time telling a raven from an American crow. Is it common raven? Maybe it's common raven, but whatever it is, I have a hard time telling it from an American crow. Oh, more horned larks this week. Here we're seeing here and there, more vegetation poking through the snow that's on the ground. I'd say there's more snow on the ground here than like the Ithaca area and further south. Wish we could have looked at that bird. It might have been a raven, I'm not sure. Anyway, we're heading to the airport. Travel's easier today than it was last week. That's for certain. The roads are in much better shape. Here and there's snow on the road, like this short stretch we're about to drive right through, and I suspect it's maybe because of wind blowing the snow back on the road repeatedly. But overall, things are a lot easier to drive on than they were last week. not sure if I'll be getting out of the car here at the airport or not. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see. Probably won't, but like I said, we'll see. Still have plenty of snow piles along the various runways and driveways to make things difficult for us in terms of spotting anybody. Here, let me just show you what I mean. You know, you look at these snow banks here. Let me just open the window. Hold on. You look at the snow banks, and you know it's hard to just to see a snowy owl, which you see all kinds of rounded clumps of snow, and it's hard to see the rounded head of a snowy owl against such a backdrop. Be owls here, who knows, but we did not see one last week. Actually, we didn't see one here or anywhere last week, but we'll try again this week. I saw one earlier at Sable Road, before the official start time of 1 o'clock. That for a few minutes, and we may, depending on how things go, we may go back to it. With the cold temperatures that we've had, I can see things being pretty well frozen over in the Montezuma area. So who knows? We may have a very quick run around things, run around the area of Montezuma, and maybe we'll return to Sable and have another look and see if we can have possibly a better look at the owl. I think things are supposed to be sunny today just about all day, so I don't know if the views will be all that great. Just trying to look through the side here. Just looking as best I can at the areas I can see from here. I have no idea. Maybe with all these snow piles, maybe the owls will stay away from the runways just because if there's that much snow covering things, maybe they would feel it's not worth being there. And they'd want to go to areas where there's maybe more vegetation opened up from underneath, and also meaning, more potential prey. Certainly don't see anything now. I think we're going to move along. I guess I could go in the terminal and ask to just take a quick look around, but I think I'm not going to. I did that last week before, I started the broadcast, and there was nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that's the case this week, but... I think I'm going to turn around, and I am going to go inside and see if I can just take a quick look around. You never know. Just park right here, and I'll leave you in here, and I'm not really dressed to be out there just yet, but I'll just do things quickly this way here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and take a quick look if I can to see if there are any owls in the immediate area. If there are, maybe we'll get out and look if it looks like it would be a good view, and if not, we'll continue on. But I need a moment here. Okay, be back shortly. Nope. Nobody there. Couldn't see anybody there, and I spoke briefly with a person inside, and he said, ever since, and this is no surprise, ever since the the snowbanks were piled up, and there just hasn't been any owl activity. I did see a couple hawks in the air. They looked like red-tailed hawks, or at least one of them did anyway. But no snowy owls. So let's continue on. Just get situated here, and we'll head towards the Montezuma area. I walked out, looked around, walked back in, and I just as a courtesy even just wanted to let the person inside who said I could go through know that I was leaving, and also thankful that he allowed me to do that. I said, that's no fun. He knew what I meant right off the bat. They may be around, and they probably are. It's just a matter of where, and under the, well, I don't know if maybe these are maybe the usual circumstances. I mean, after all, it's winter. But when you don't have much snow, and they're not free to go to the runways or near the runways, but they're appealing to them for whatever reason. We've those areas are a draw, but apparently they're not a draw today. So maybe they're in other areas that might be considered a draw. I mean, it's just like, well, I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to what we see with the red-tailed hawks and the pheasant farm in the Ithaca area. The pattern that we've noticed, or at least that I feel has been there, is to see more hawks when there is more snow on the ground. Otherwise, maybe the hawks just find it, the other areas more appealing. As I said, I don't believe the snow is very, very deep, but it's deep enough to cover, a lot of the vegetation, which might draw potential prey. Still looking as we drive out of the area. There's always a chance that we'll see something, but I'm not getting my hopes up. waving me along? He is, okay. You know, I haven't, just because of the route I took to get here, I haven't looked at, you know, very much of the northern end of Cayuga Lake. You know, by the time I turn off of this road that we're about to get onto, I mean, it was still, you know, I didn't see any ice. But well, you know, from here it doesn't look like it's all that icy, which surprises me, unless that's just a smooth layer and not very white in color. I don't know. It'd be funny for it not to be frozen. Well, you know what? Actually, I take that back. We did have some relatively mild days until, you know, yesterday and last night. So maybe it's not all that frozen. All that solid. I don't know. Maybe we'll take a look on the way back. Mentioned before, I know I mentioned last week, I said I did not mention last week, sometimes, you know, the freezing or the partial freezing of the lake can work in our favor. And I remember a couple years ago, I believe it was, that I you know, found a spot where it seemed like, you know, the ice had eased up, and, you know, there was water, and there were quite a few birds there making use of it. You know, waterfowl, and there were eagles there, and it was just a nice thing to watch for a bit. It's kind of like, it's the same sort of thing as we see, for instance, at Sapsucker Woods, in a way. Not with the pond so much, but like if everything's covered with snow, all of a sudden the feeding garden becomes more important, and you know, draws more the attention of more birds. But if everything is, you know, without any snow, and there's food to be found, not as likely to see as much activity at the feeding garden. Of February, and you know, we're getting there in terms of winter. I mean, we have a ways to go, but won't be long before March is here, and we start to see, hopefully, and there, you know, obviously we can have snow in March, but soon after that we might start seeing a few signs of spring. And we'll, you know, hopefully see some signs of migration, spring migration. By the way, I'll tell you later. If at all. hawk in the air, by the way, to our left. Anyway, I've seen I've seen eagles a little bit, but nothing close, and nothing especially interesting or unusual. It's funny, it's really part of my morning routine to at least have a decent look out my various windows, just to see if there are any hawks around or any eagles around or anything like that. And if I see an eagle, usually it's quite distant. I mean, I can't see it with the naked eye, but with binoculars I can see, okay, there's a white head and a dark body, but not really a close look, but still like to see them. But it's part of my morning routine. Done it like, a certain in order. Okay, do it now after doing this, and just. And then usually look again and again, maybe again. Something in the air to our left, but the trees are blocking my view. I can't really see I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's still there. There's a crow. Well, maybe it was I don't know. Could have been. Oh, there's another crow. Could be. Maybe that's what I saw. I'm not seeing anything else along here, and we really haven't. We have seen red-tailed hawks in prior weeks, but we haven't seen any rough-legged hawks like we had in prior years. I'm going to let this truck behind me pass. Today, maybe it was yesterday, another month and a half, and weather permitting, Wildlife Drive will be open. just looking at Shockey Pool, I mean, from what I can see of it from here, it's hard to see. Things look like they're covered with snow and ice. There's some birds out there, I think. Hold on, let me just take a look. They're relatively dark if I can get a line of sight. Well, they're not dark, but they are gulls by the looks of things. It's just a lighting issue. Okay. This channel that we're driving above right now is largely free of ice. I don't see anything. Well, I see a few crows, but I don't see any. A couple gulls, maybe, but nothing else out of the ordinary. Let's keep going. Flying around here, you might be able to see them, and a gull or two. This channel is very much covered with snow, and I see an eagle. And we'll try to take a quick look at it, I think. Well, let me look at it with binoculars first. I'll give you a quick look just with this camera. I'm not going to switch cameras just because the view doesn't look all that good. We've got trees in our way, but right up here. Branches, I should say. Okay, let's, if we find that we can get a better view, we'll take it, but maybe as I drive up here, oh, actually, this might not be too bad. Hold on one second. It could be worse. Let's take a quick look. Okay, this will be quick. It won't be easy for me either, just because of the way everything is situated. You can hear a lot of crows in the area, but this is the only eagle I see at the moment. I take it back, I see another eagle. a young one. Hold on one second. Let's see if we can look at that young one. If I can find it. Okay, we're going to move along because we're not seeing them as well as I would like. Out East Road. Don't know if we'll see anything. I have a feeling everything will be frozen over, but you never know what we might see along the way. What it was, a sparrow of some sort, and I see more horned larks. So they just took off. They were some right at the edge of the road, and then they took off towards our left. Love those little birds. Predicted everything down below looks like it's frozen over, so there may not be much reason or I need to stay here, but water does, will draw the attention of birds, and with everything frozen over, there's not much reason for them to be here. See something by any chance? I doubt it, but Nope, never mind. Looks like East Road is going to be likely a washout unless something pops into view. But we were here anyway, so it's not like we invested a huge amount of time. Do what we have been in the past and just take a few minutes just to look through this area. Now, with all the snow on the ground, will I see anything? I don't know, but I'll give it a try. Over here, and let me just take a quick look with binoculars over this area here while I have a chance. We did see, a snowy owl in this area last year, and granted, I didn't find it myself. I knew it was. I had heard a report that there was one around, but then luckily someone pointed it out. Now, there have not been any reports of them. Really, there had been a report weeks ago, but nothing recent. For all I know, there was a report yesterday, but quite honestly, eBird has been delivering email reports later and later lately, for whatever reason. So, I left home before seeing any eBird reports. I do see a hawk in the air, I think. Not sure what kind. It looks like a hawk to me. Maybe another hawk. They're both distant, so let's just drive through here quickly. Probably a waste of time, but shouldn't take too long. Oh, let me pull over. There's a car coming. Let it pass me. With all the snow on the ground, it's hard to see anyway, but you never know, maybe on a pole or something elevated off the ground. It could be an owl, and maybe if that were the case, we would take a look if possible. With things frozen as solidly as they likely are here in this area, it's maybe not that much of a draw for birds, but once it starts to warm up a bit, and if anything melts, and there's maybe there's some standing water there, it might draw ducks and geese. So it's worth coming here, is what I'm saying. Talking about that time of year, into March and everything, you start to see some of the waterfowl coming back through. They're migrating, and an area like this, if there's some water and also there's food left over from the harvesting of the corn here, it can draw quite a few birds. Car behind me. I'll have to pull over here somewhere and turn around. Do that right here. I should be able to turn around here. Last week I didn't think I could because of all the snow on the ground, but today it's a little different. refer to this area as Savannah Mucklands, I think, maybe? I don't know. Maybe there's muck, but I mean, there are definitely agricultural fields here. continue on. I'm not seeing anything here, and maybe I'm not surprised not to see anything here. But like I said, we'll continue to come here since we're in the area, and also, as spring approaches, it might be more appealing to some birds, and we may, maybe have some luck seeing something here. Funny that we just passed the house. I don't believe you saw it, but they had some clothing hanging out on a clothesline, and it's 26 degrees. Straight ahead and look around, but I don't think I'm going to. It's a bad signal area, and I don't want to do it. We have enough problems as it is, technologically. Broadcast running the whole way to Ithaca, but let's head back a bit, and maybe we'll stop and take a look at try to take a look at the snowy owl that I saw earlier. Who knows? Maybe the view is better now. I don't think I'm going to go back to the airport though. Just haven't been around. Hold on one second. Do I see something? One of crows ahead of us. What is it? Do I see? Oh no, it's nothing. Okay. Hate to disturb the crows. Looks like there's some remains of a dead animal on the side of the road there. Probably a deer, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, looking at these crows just as I see them, and then thinking back to a little while ago when I saw that bird that might have been a raven, I really think that was a raven. Really regret not getting a look at it. It would have been nice to see. Never had a good look at a raven. Not knowing me anyway. Once at Sapsucker Woods, we were hearing one. Oh, two eagles now, right next to each other. And yeah, the eagle that we looked at, the adult, there was another eagle right next to it. Could try to go back and look, but I'm feeling the view's not going to be that great. We'll keep moving. problem was the the distance was not great. It wasn't too bad. It was their branches that were blocking the view. People up on the tower there at Shockey Pool, I wonder if they're seeing anything. I kind of doubt it. But it's awfully cold up there. Crow by the side of the road here. I don't want to bother it too much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a raven we saw earlier. Or I saw. It just seemed too large to be a crow. The bill looked a little heavier. What we'll do is we'll go back to Saybolt Road, see if maybe the view has changed or improved or whatever in some way for the snowy owl, but who knows, maybe I'll see that raven again. I don't know. Near the also, I think before we get there, I think we'll take a detour just to have a closer look at Cayuga Lake, just to see if there's anything happening because of the ice. So far, maybe not the most exciting tour we've had, but we did see that snowy owl and we did see the horned larks. So glad for those sightings. Rumor around town is it's 28 degrees, and actually I didn't check the forecast for up here so much, but I think Ithaca had a predicted high temperature today of around 30 or something like that. So, and tomorrow even warmer. I think I saw 40 degrees for tomorrow. Last night was very cold, and it is warming up today, so it's not too bad. But when that wind blows, it's still pretty cold. You know, Cornell had the Hawk Talk event back on, was it the 3rd? It was the 3rd of February. And yesterday morning, actually, I remembered that we've seen some interesting vocalizations ourselves on the tour. And yesterday morning, one popped into my head, and it was back on July 16th of 2016, and you can actually see this in the Cornell Red-Tailed Hawks highlights video that I have on YouTube. and I went and found it, and when I was trying to remember it, I couldn't remember which specific hawk was involved, but I had thought it was G2, and sure enough it was G2. And anyway, so back on July 16th, 2016, I had gone to the campus that evening, and we followed G2 around, and we didn't see the parents for a long time. In fact, they didn't seem to be around, and G2 was clearly hungry. I didn't watch the whole video, but I think it was calling sometimes, and there was a squirrel that it kind of went after, and certainly was watching it intently, and and then I lost sight of G2, and it was getting late, and the parents didn't seem to be around, so I thought, okay, it's I might as well head home and everything. And I was starting to walk to the car, and this starts at the 24-minute mark, just about. I was walking to the car, and I wasn't even recording. I had to, for this video, I had to switch to the what was then Ustream, automatically recorded. And anyway, I started hearing one of the calls of the adults, and not the long key or scream of a hawk, but just some other vocalizations. And soon enough, I saw Ezra in the air, flying up to, I believe that was not the nest that year, it was the it was the Furno nest, but it wasn't, I don't believe they used it that year. And but anyway, hold on one second here. Some gulls. Oh, this is, by the way, it is iced over. It just looks very smooth and without any snow, but it looks like it's iced over. There are the gulls. Anyway, so Ezra had appeared, and actually Big Red was also came in the area, and they were both calling and everything. And Ezra had prey for G2 and was at the Furno nest and kept calling, and then finally G2 came along and had the meal, and then continued to do some calling for some reason, and itself. And then it's just nice. It's just a nice way to end the day. It had seen that G2 would go hungry, and eventually, but did have a meal delivered. But anyway, it was a nice set of interesting vocalizations. You could hear the two adults, Big Red and Ezra, call to G2. Especially Ezra continued to call to G2, and then G2 showed up. I had worried that maybe G2 wouldn't hear that call and would have been elsewhere and gone hungry for that night, but just a nice set of vocalizations, and we got to see them pretty well. The other set of vocalizations that we saw, this past year, I believe it was in June, and we just kept seeing Big Red on one of the lighting towers, just kept calling and calling. And I had originally thought it was calling to Arthur for some reason, or calling out who knows what, but looked like Arthur may have been there on another tower, and I hadn't seen him, but he seemed to have been there all along. And then even when I had confirmed that he was there, she kept calling and not looking in his direction or anything, and it seemed like she was probably calling to her young, who were just like maybe being a little bit too relaxed up there on Rice Hall. She seemed to, and that was the day we saw her go over there, and they had prey that they weren't even really eating, and she went and took it from them. She seemed to try to be teaching them. Almost like saying, you know, this isn't all fun and games. Come on, kids, you know. I have to say, I love those evenings. I've said it before, I know, but I love those evenings on the campus when the fledglings are still in the area and we get to see them. It's just and it's peaceful, and usually the weather has been nice, and things are So anyway, we're heading back towards Saybolt Road, and we'll have another look around. We're not going to go there via the airport. The airport, I'm not saying there are no owls around at all, but they don't seem to be there, or at least not within view, so skipping that, coming back. I see some white out there. Hold on one second. Out there on the water. Well out there. Oh, a lot of white. Hold on. More than I thought. I think they're probably gulls, but maybe swans? Hold on a second. Let me look with binoculars. I don't know what they are. Probably swans. Let's take a quick look. I guess this is as good a spot as any. Well, first of all, let me give you a look with this. They're swans, or at least some of them are. I hear swans. Tundra swans. Okay, we'll switch cameras and have a look. See what's out there as best we can. Now they're well out there, so we're not getting a super close-up by any means, but a lot of them seem to be snoozing. Okay, that's the first major group there, but there's a larger group we'll take a look at. You can see there is water free of ice in the distance, even farther out. Those look like black-backed gulls, or at least one of them is. That ice looks slippery. I'm hearing a blue jay, by the way. Okay, also some Canada geese. A lot of gulls back there too. Not sure if we saw trumpeter swans or not. No, maybe not. I can't tell. I have a hard time telling the difference. The sound, we're hearing what sound like tundra swans. Into here. So that's pretty much it, really. Mostly swans. Careful there. What's going on here? Hold on one second. Hold on. I have to fix something on the camera here. There we go. I wonder if many of them are going to leave. I mean, you're seeing more and more of them stand up. Not all of them, certainly, but they're beautiful. Clearly, though, I mean, they can walk, but they don't seem to. It's not easy to walk on that smooth ice. I see some of the swans, they just landed a little further along. It's not like they flew right out of the area. And, hold on, who's this? Got an eagle in the air. I don't know if I can get it or not. And I can't get it from here. Not at that angle. Okay, let's continue on. Good to see the swans. Again, I believe those were, I don't know if they were all, but they were certainly I believe they were mostly trumpeter swans. I'm sorry, tundra swans. don't know if there were any trumpeters there or not. They're about halfway across the lake. That's why I like driving on this side of the lake as opposed to the other side. There are more opportunities to see the lake from this side than the other, or at least to see it fairly well. On the other side, you get distant views of some waterfowl or something that I really don't get to see, just in my travels anyway, any other place. So I really enjoy this side. A few weeks ago, I shared with you and then eventually posted the video of the common golden eyes, and that was from seeing them as I drove along this side of the lake, and it wouldn't have been possible, I don't believe, from the other side. Promise that we'll see a lot of birds. I mean, you never know. But it's always good to come out and at least make the attempt. And today, maybe we're not seeing a lot. Obviously, we don't. It's not like we're driving on Wildlife Drive in the spring and summer and there are a lot of birds. I mean, things are different. This is winter and things are definitely different, but there are a lot of opportunities we have in winter we don't have the other times of the year. Of course, the scenery is different too, and we saw plenty of it last week. Sapsucker Woods and elsewhere. Walking, and it's now, according to my car's thermometer, if it can be believed, it's now 30 degrees. It wasn't that cold last week, really. It wasn't warm either, but last week I had bundled up and everything, and it wasn't long before I was overheating actually because I was dealing with the deep snow, walking through that, and also I was just, I was warm, so nice and toasty. Too toasty. Okay, so we're about to turn onto Sable Road. Right now. So we'll have a quick look around. There's a chance this view will be better than it was earlier, so we'll see. I'm just looking around at the way the sun is shining. I mean, the sun is still shining, but we might have a better view this time around. I don't know. It wasn't that bad last time, but clearly wasn't great. And who knows? The owl may not even be there, but we're gonna give it a try. I do see a car pulled over up ahead. It's hard to tell if they're sticking anything out of their car to see if they're looking. Yeah, I think they are. And looking at the gas well, the owl is still there. So let's take a look. Drive up a little ways. Seems to be in the exact same spot where it was earlier. And I just saw 3 horned lorries. Okay, this should be good. The owl is in shade, so we may not have a great look, but we'll take it. Still windy. I can lighten it up. Look how cute. While you're looking at the owl, we won't be here long, but I don't see much else right now. I'm going to lighten it up just a little further. sun has come back out a bit. Hello.
Loves that spot, doesn't he?
Sure does.
You can count on it, right?
Well, wasn't there last week, but
Oh, is that true?
I didn't see it last week, but you know,
Every time I've come, I've seen him there. It's just like,
it's a good regular spot, and last year the same.
yeah.
But you know, would you move just a couple inches?
No, I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go.
Take care. Good luck. Just a few more moments, and then, you know, I think probably shut down until I get back to Ithaca. What it's on is apparently a gas well. That's equipment used for it. I've never seen anyone operate it or anything like that. The only thing I've ever seen, of course, we're not here every day. The only thing I've ever seen is, So I think what we'll do is we're going to shut down very shortly, and we'll resume in Ithaca. Probably around between 4:15 and 4:30, if I had to guess. Don't see any other activity. I'm tempted to go see if I can find the Raven, but I can't count on it being where it was. Love to see it and have a good look, though. That's for sure. Okay, everybody. So let's resume in Ithaca somewhere between 4:15, 4:30, somewhere around there. Okay. Try to get there as quickly as I can, and we'll see how things go. Okay, everybody. All right. We'll see you in a little while. Bye-bye.